Congratulations to all the loyal, based patriots that turned up today in Dublin to push back against the mainstream media, the Irish government, and a host of other different issues. We're going to get into it today. Of course, like I said, much love to everybody that showed up to the protest today in Dublin. The online sphere of pushback against the Irish government and the in-person protests together are very much helping get the message across to the people of Ireland. There is a landscape shift on the attitude towards things, a complete vibe shift, you would say, and it's great to see. Today, we're going to be reacting to a few different videos about it. You know, the mainstream media, Irish Independent reaction was hilarious. I have a few different articles from them as well, but I also have a few different videos to see. Niall Boylan chimed in, and a lot of other people, great based patriots, talked and said a lot of things about it. There was also a lot of videos of people speaking, great people, great speakers of these different parties that are pushing back against the agendas that's happening, and it's great to see, guys. You know, so like, comment, subscribe. Much love to everyone that turned up. You know, like I said, the online sphere is great, but when you have it in person as well, it's, you know, it's 10 times as good, in my personal opinion, guys, because it's really showing the people, you know, this is what we do. We get out here, especially if you're from Dublin, okay? If you're from other counties surrounding it, you're able to get there. If you're from further west or further south or north, obviously it's a little bit tougher, but to see the communities around Dublin and the cities around Dublin come out for it is incredible. You know, it just basically shows that most people think this exact same way. So let's watch the first video here. This is just a sea of tricolors about the massive protests, and this is really showing and sticking it to the people, okay, what's happening. Amazing. So that was one video. There was also another sea of tricolors here. A massive turnout today. I think they said, you know, tens of thousands of people turned out today. You know, anywhere from 10 to 50,000. The numbers obviously, you know, haven't come out yet, but not to be spreading misinformation, but that's the amount of people that show up every single time. 50,000, 30,000, 60,000. So there is a massive pull and a massive drive for this. And of course, Damon Ivor, again, you know, he's a comedy sketch guy from Dublin, handing out flags for free as well. So for those who don't know, he actually hands out flags for free. You know, I said last time you could pay for them and stuff, but this guy is so much of a patriot. He hands these flags out for free, and it's great to see that, you know, the Irish flag is being used in a patriotic manner. Okay, that's what it was there for. People died for the flag, died for the country, died for the freedoms that we have. And the freedoms, as we speak, are getting eroded every single day by the UN, the EU, these big corporations. It's crazy to see, but the people will win eventually. So a ton of people here. And this video goes on for 5 minutes long. Look at that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Truly unbelievable. You guys can see it goes on for 5.5 minutes, nearly 6 minutes of people walking, and it's still as far as the eye could see. So obviously a huge turnout. You know, this is a change. You know, this is a landslide change, and it's great to see that. You know, this has been happening for a few years, guys, but now really, you know, the average person, like I've showed in the last videos, the average person is waking up to this. You know, a lot of people, and myself included, didn't know about this stuff 3 years ago. I'll be perfectly honest. You know, it was just hidden. It was just, you know, I had to do other stuff. It wasn't my priority. Now I understand exactly what these mainstream Marxist, communist, globalists are trying to do to this country. And it's disgusting. And it's great to see people fighting back, to be perfectly honest, you know, and hopefully one day we vote this government out of office. So this is hilarious. We have an RTE news article that came out about this. Of course, RTE hate to even mention any of this stuff, but they have to because it gets clicks, it gets views, and just the overwhelming amount of support in the country, the landslide shift is just overwhelming. It says thousands take part in separate protests in Dublin. Okay, so there's a few different protests. Now, the way that these Marxist sort of revolutionary people before profit people label the far right anti-immigration protests is hilarious, guys, because there's nothing far right or anti-immigration about them, okay, whatsoever. It says here they did a counter demonstration, okay, and it marched from the Garden of Remembrance to Customs House Quay, and you guys can see these people in attendance, a lot of nose rings, a lot of green hair, okay, a lot of bullshit protests, okay. They don't really even understand what they're fighting for, okay, just complete nonsense. And it says on their little sheets here, little placards, fascism. It's fascist, guys. That's what we hear all the time. You know, the far right are fascist. Like, and there's not a fascist element in any of these people. So it's unbelievable. It says, not then, not now, not ever. But they want communism. So, I mean, it's just ridiculous. But as Niall Boylan rightly pointed out here, he says, when will RT and the media learn that almost all of the protests are not anti-immigration? They are anti-government, free-for-all policy, and anti-illegal immigration to the country. Now, of course, guys, you know, there's certain criteria there that he is correct on. I believe, you know, Niall Boylan is 100% correct. You know, the way they try and flip the narrative, you know, to try and make these protests out to be racist, when they're anything but, guys, it's anything but. You know, there's lots of people of different nationalities in these protests, protesting against the government because there's no housing, there's no services anymore. They bring in the EU, this human trafficking ring. They bring in 300 people from Algeria, from Albania, from flipping God knows where, you know, East Asia, and then they plant them, put them somewhere in Ireland. It's just ridiculous, guys. It transforms villages. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It is part of the globalist agenda, you know, to be perfectly honest. And Niall Boylan is 100% correct. So shout out to Niall Boylan. Let's read on this news article from RT, guys. It says, many waved tricolours while others wore hats with the slogan Make Ireland Great Again or held banners reading Ireland is full. A counter demonstration organised by the United Against Racism group. It's such a little bullshit. How can the people in the far right, how can they be racist when there's tons of different nationalities? And every single person I've ever spoken to in Ireland, African, Asian, you know, Latin American, someone from, you know, Brazil, Portugal, every single one of these people agree with everything that I ever say, ever. The only people that disagree are like 20-year-old, like white women or like men from Ireland that come from like D4 and rich elitists, along with the government. They're losing, guys, and they're scared, you know, because they know that they don't have the will of the people behind them. It's absolutely ridiculous. So it says, several organizations and groups are involved in the counter-demonstration, including trade unions, the Ireland-Palestine Solidarity Campaign, People Before Profit, the Labour Party, of course the Labour Party, the Social Democrats, the Socialist Party, LGBT groups, and student unions. I mean, all of these collective groups, apart from, you know, one group right there, are just dog shit and don't really have any sort of say of anything. I mean, People Before Profit are anything but, guys. The Solidarity Campaign, the Social Democrats bullshit, the Socialist Party bullshit, LGB is just to make money. It's just ridiculous. They have really no understanding of anything. Okay, it says the anti-immigration protests and counter-demonstration met each other at the bottom of O'Connell Street where they were angry exchanges, chants and jeers. However, Gardaí implemented an effective event policing plan. Members of the Garda Public Order Unit, backed up by the Mounted Support Unit, maintained a cordon between the two groups, and the afternoon passed off without any major incidents taking place. Okay, again, using the anti-immigration thing, which is not at all that, okay, they try and trick people. This is what RT does. They use this language to trick people, coerce people. Anti-immigration, okay, was concluded on Custom House Quay, where there were a number of speeches took place. Like I said, yeah, the speeches were good, get the crowd riled up, fired up to vote for change. The counter-demonstration made its way back to the Central Plaza on Dame Street, where organisers addressed those who had taken part. The evening marks an end to a busy weekend for Gardaí in the capital, following a number of concerts, sporting fixtures and public gatherings. Ah yes, the circuses and bread for the people, the stupid people, the circuses and bread. And I'm not saying you're stupid if you go to sports games, not at all. But, you know, the country is falling down around us and there won't be any sports games to go to. You know, people say, I don't want to speak up because I might lose my job. You won't even have a job to go to because the fucking country will be flipping incinerated in a flipping world war or some crazy shit, or something that's going to happen, you know, following the bullshit that's occurring, this woke agenda, you know, the woke mind virus that's infecting millions of people around the world. So forget about any job or any standing up. Okay, guys, just keep going to the concerts, keep listening to these influencers, keep watching the sporting fixtures and the public gatherings, the public displays. Keep going to those events, guys, and see what happens. Okay, and I myself, I went out over the weekend. Of course, it was the summer solstice. I hung out with my friends, but you know, this is the sort of mindless, like, keep the people occupied while we just destroy the country. You know, this is the sort of idea that the government currently have, guys. Okay, bread and circuses. Okay, let them watch the circuses. You know, let them eat shitty food, get unhealthy, get sick, get cancer, don't work out. You know, don't play sports yourself. You know, when you're watching loads of these guys running around on the field after a football, just remember what's actually happening, what's actually really that matters is going on up there in the flipping doll. And, you know, the really shit is about to hit the fan if nothing happens, guys. Okay, if we're too distracted from the public gatherings and bullshit, then how the hell is there ever supposed to be change? Let me know your thoughts. I love you all. Shout out to everybody attending those protests. You know, it's amazing. Keep pushing the images and the process on the internet. Keep going to these protests, especially if they're in your city. You know, you definitely should turn out if they're in your city, guys. You know, keep pushing this message. We're going to keep pushing this message on my platform as well every single day. And yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed that. I love you all, and I will see you in the next one, guys. If you want to help support me, hit the join link underneath the video. Like I said, I don't have the public funding that RT gets. You know, they get 750 million and crazy amounts to push their own sort of liberal Marxist agenda. You know, this sort of collective globalist agenda, while myself and only a few other people on YouTube are able to actually push back and have our say against this, guys. Because NGOs are out there currently working to take me down. Okay, but it's never going to happen, baby. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.